The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
So, you worked for Jim Crockett, right?
Didn't you have a big blowout with Mr. Crockett, if I'm not mistaken?
And you worked in Portland, didn't they? Didn't they all treat you guys the same way over there? I understood you at Portland, you got to go home. But, Crockett, you were traveling. Didn't that guy treat you guys like cattle?
What was the difference between Crockett and McMahon? You clearly had a problem with Crockett. Tell us what went down with Crockett. I'm very curious.
Crockett was an angel compared to McMahon.
Okay, but you still had a problem with Crockett? Is that true or false?
You got to remember now. You got to go right back to the square one. I was a quote unquote unknown drug trafficker. Nobody knew. Eddie Graham knew. Lenny Montana, another wrestler who, I don't know if you guys know Lenny Montana or not. Okay. The Colombo crime family, one of the 5 families. He's probably my biological father.
Did this cause issues with these promoters?
Wait, hold on. I don't want to miss what he just said. You actually think he was your biological father?
There's a chance Vince McMahon Sr. is my biological father. And Vince knows that. That's why the last time I said when the Benoit killing, when I was wired on...
Let's go deeper. I want to understand why Vincent Kennedy McMahon Sr. could be a father, and then if you could elaborate on the whole Chris Benoit situation and your feelings.
Okay, we have to kind of take it back just a step.
Take it
because
back.
I've got a little bit of the CTE. There's a $1 billion lawsuit against Vince.
Okay. And
I'm the one who started that up. Me and another guy that beat the NFL attorney. So I went to him and said, "Is there anything we can do about these concussions, having headaches every day?" And he said, "Yeah, there is." And next thing you know, they filed a $1,600,000,000 lawsuit against Vince McMahon. I started that, and I got 42 guys on the women and men on the lawsuit. So yeah.
You also had an aortic aneurysm, am I correct?
And I don't even know how I'm here right now. I had an aortic aneurysm in 2013.
So we're like family. I also in 2009 had an aortic aneurysm. So we're both part of the
zip blowout.
Actually, it didn't. And it was identified, and they were able to fix it before it blew out. So did you have the same situation where the artery was starting to bubble out, and then they were able to replace it, that type of deal?
I haven't had surgery yet. I was supposed to have it in October, and I didn't have it because one of the kids I raised, a young man, overdosed at 46. He's like my son.
Sorry.
So when he died, half of me died with him. So I said to hell with the surgery. It's going to kill me if I don't have the surgery within by August or maybe September. They said it's going to blow. So I have to go in and have surgery. So congrats to you. I'm glad you had yours.
Well, I really hope you change your mind. I understand.
Get that taken care of,
and I would recommend that you either have it here in New York City or go to Cleveland, Ohio. But anyway, I digress. Back to Vincent Kennedy McMahon Sr.
Vincent, here's just what happened. I told you about a little bit of the pro boxing background my family had and everything. There was a guy that my mother was dating, was having an affair with, who was a amateur, one of the greatest ever. And in 1952, what happened was Lenny Montana wasn't even wrestling then. He was part of I think he was a collector or a strong arm for the Colombo family. He flew out because this guy was such a good fighter my mother was dating, and they flew him back into New York. Rocky Marciano had just won the world's heavyweight title in 1952, September 23rd. I'm a big boxing buff. And Al Well was his manager. And Charlie Goldman, a little dinky lightweight, was his manager. He's the one that taught Rocky how to move in and out with his head and you're short and how to throw these short arm punches. Look how many guys he knocked out. So he was into this guy my mother was dating. And he come down there and whooped 2 or 3 guys' ass. So they wanted him really bad. Well, during the course of the 2 days he stayed there, Vince was at the Madison Square Garden. Jess McMahon, Grandpa McMahon, was there. He wasn't dead yet. He was still alive in 52. He died in 54. And then Vince McMahon Sr. was there. And Vince Jr. wasn't even born yet. If he was born, he was only 7. He wasn't even around McMahon then.
Tiny, right.
So they both at that time they double teamed my mother. You know, and you know, I found this out to be the truth because my aunt never lied to me and told me, and I finally got it out of my mother. And then Lenny Montana told me when I was with Eddie Graham in '84. That's why I went down there, was to deal cocaine.